When was the last time we really got in touch with ourselves? When was the last time we looked in the mirror and recognized the person staring right back? People seem to lose their sense of selves in a fast-paced, high-stakes world wrought with labor and stress, mostly stemming from one's career or profession. Now that we are experiencing an extra stretch of downtime during this quarantine, we can carefully assess where we are at in life and plan out where we're headed. There comes a point in a person's journey where they stifle their strong natural urge to be themselves and become somebody that would garner the approval of certain people in groups, parties, or organizations. If this behavior remains unchecked, the individual may no longer recognize themselves, entering into a confused state where a loop of unanswered thoughts are pushed back to prioritize the obligations of demanding jobs. Whose path are they walking on? Why are they there? And why must they trudge onward? Why must they place considerable effort to a cause that doesn't even align with their core values, whatever now those may be? And if they weren't themselves, how can they find that person again? This state is mentally taxing, and it is why many young people today are stuck in doubt and obscurity, crippling them to make proper decisions for themselves. Sadly, they oftentimes degrade to a husk of their former selves, uncertain in which way to go. When they are too far gone from their own rationale, they allow other people to dictate directions. But if people pause and take time to reflect upon these concerns, they will eventually find the clarity that they seek and become more confident, well-rounded individuals. Prior to the global pandemic and coronavirus quarantine, we were in environments that put high emphasis on accomplishments, achievements, and positive results over the individual. We were stuck in schedules swamped with obligations, especially in demanding jobs that sometimes exceeded the standard 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. work shift, thrown in a whirlwind of events where people are paid to network, report, or join teams or groups. It is no wonder then that most people lose their real selves to adjust to the standards of corporate settings. They let go of their core values and let themselves drift along the currents of work life, deconstructing and reassembling themselves into a figure who meets the requirements and expectations of a job position, carefully crafting a personality that removes the aspects of themselves that people dislike. Sometimes failing, turning into cardboard cutouts. Put simply, people change to conform to corporate culture and some shallow societal trends at the risk of losing their true selves. Of course, the transformation of the individual is a necessary and inevitable process of life. One chapter closes, another one opens. People grow up and do away with childish notions to make room for complex and mature experiences. We know that we need to suffer, to face and conquer challenges that increase in difficulty for us to grow and become the person we want to be. We know that we must work hard and develop skills consistently if ever we are to achieve success. And that means leaving our comfort zones and taking on problems that directly oppose our desires. We know that we should be grateful and be content on what we have, to continue working, even if it means dealing with terrible team members in a job that we don't particularly like. That is the nature of our modern lives. But in order to advance into stable adults, we need to first focus on our mental health and emotional well-being so that we can uplift ourselves from a state of confusion and obscurity, the factors that directly affect personal progress and fulfillment. Besides, the solution isn't always to search for a decent job. No matter where a person is in life or where they plan on going, as long as they do not take time to fully self-reflect upon their actions, their desires and dreams, their goals and ambitions, they will be as lost as they were before they set out to find meaning and purpose. Now, to target the root cause of this problem, people have to reacquaint themselves with their core values, which would in turn point to a more accurate route containing the right obstacles to challenge their skills. Again, this does not necessarily mean looking for another job. That would just be flopping around hoping to land on something that would make sense. The emphasis is to retreat inwards to figure out the answers they seek in order for them to become well-rounded individuals in whatever situation. This intimate self-reflection is called introspection, a valuable examination of one's own mental and emotional processes. Practicing introspection raises our self-awareness and heightens our emotional intelligence, which results in us transforming into more well-rounded and grounded individuals, helping us to stay true to ourselves and thereby making mostly right decisions as we adapt to the rapid changes in our fast-paced world. By being more in tune with our thoughts and feelings, we can finally achieve the clarity we seek to construct the roadmap towards our true desires. We can identify our core motives that will drive us to our destination. We can better tackle our surroundings, be more patient with difficult people, accept opportunities carefully, form exciting new memories, and aim with precision to become the person we were meant to become, and not be limited to an image based on someone else's expectations. For all the points mentioned above, it is imperative that we ask meaningful questions about ourselves to get back on the right track. The thing is, we don't often stop to think about our thoughts, let alone understand our feelings to determine if the things that are happening to us are what we truly want in life, what with the amount of work that we need to finish, as well as prepping for the next daily grind. We just keep rushing in, pressured by the excessive importance placed on today's work culture. Well, now that we've got more time on our hands, we can fully assess where we are at in life. It's pretty simple, but involves being really vulnerable with ourselves. It requires sitting down in a quiet, comfortable place where you can dive deep into your psyche and concentrate on your thoughts. A tool to help you critically assess yourself is the SWOT analysis, a valuable strategic planning technique that helps a person or organization identify their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. As each section suggests, you have to list down what you're particularly good at, what skills you need to work on, what opportunities are clearly open for you, and what the challenges are to pursuing those opportunities. Journaling also has multiple benefits in self-reflection, as the act itself is the recording of your train of thoughts, and in writing them down, critically analyze your current situation to prevent you from falling back into a lifeless state. As an example, let's say that I am an employee who has been working steadily in a company for a year now. It was the first job I took as soon as I graduated from college. Not thinking deeply about my decision because I desperately needed money to pay off student loans and other debts. Lately, my work life has been packed with hectic events that require me to talk with many difficult people over the course of the day, coupled with many sleepless nights trying to figure out the next move that would satisfy the demands of clients. I strive to do my best every day at work, but the stress has really been wearing me down and has even caused me to lose my zest for life. I've just been drifting day after day to repeat the dreary momentum of waking up and going to work to get the money and pay the bills. I now long for the simple days of my youth when almost everything made perfect sense. I knew that something was off and that I could not clearly identify what that is. It couldn't be simply about work because I knew I have to hold myself accountable in this matter, since I'm also a major contributor to my current external situation and mental state. So, if this isn't working, the best thing to do would be to really ask myself who I want to become in this chapter of my life. I then used the SWOT method to give me a picture of a possible pattern to apply in my life. I knew that I was decently skilled at graphic designs, but there weren't any available positions open to my level yet, within and outside my organization. What I can do is to take on more minor opportunities that would be essential in showcasing my designs, such as business events. I could also try to network in other places and take on side projects to build my own clients. Those options could increase my chances of getting my name out there and hopefully meet the right kind of people who need my skills. While I am still in this position though, I have to work on my weaknesses and prepare for the challenges that await me. These may sound negative occurrences, but I know that they would mold me to become a tougher and more resilient individual. The first thing I plan on doing is to become more approachable and be more open to people, since I don't work well in groups, and honestly, conversing with a lot of people leaves me drained. But communication and networking are essential parts of any career path. So I have to suck it up and work on my interpersonal skills to effectively deal with different types of personalities. Some people have a clear direction in life. Mentally strong, resilient people who find that they can achieve their goals in a linear fashion. But the same cannot be said for the majority who lose their bearings and may find themselves at a strange path that they have wandered on. Add in the rising number of mental health concerns found in this generation, and we've got a wave of young professionals finding difficulty to bind themselves in their posts as they try to navigate the tides of life. People must learn to wind down and find some pockets of time left in the day to breathe and meditate upon their current status in life. In doing so, they achieve a better understanding on how to approach each day with renewed clarity and focus, and become more well-rounded, successful individuals.